Coming up on today's show, the Baltimore Ravens have officially been linked to Jonathan Taylor. We'll tell you more about it coming up in a few moments. Also, have an update on J.K. Dobbins. He's returned to the field, but what about his contract situation? Also, Rashod Bateman is back on the football field. What does his role look like for the Baltimore Ravens? He spoke out for the very first time this offseason. We'll tell you what he had to say coming up in a matter of moments. Let's start with Jonathan Taylor, though, as the latest report has the Ravens linked to Taylor for a possible trade. Now, obviously, there's a lot of teams that could have potential interest, but what about Baltimore? JPA Football tweeting out rumors the Bears are expected to reach out to the Colts in regards to All-Pro running back Jonathan Taylor, per Marino NFL. Dolphins, Eagles, and Ravens, among others, having been linked to him now. Now, as far as the Ravens go, the big difference between where Baltimore is standing right now as opposed to, let's say, the Dolphins and the Bears, two of the teams mentioned there, is that the Ravens are not desperate. They're not in desperation mode for a running back, as J.K. Dobbins is solid, Gus Edwards isn't bad. Maybe they don't have an elite runner, but comparably speaking to where the Dolphins and the Bears are at the running back position, those teams are desperate. The Ravens aren't in that same boat. You look at Jonathan Taylor and the trade buzz that's been circulating for the last couple of weeks. The Colts are seeking a first-round pick in the trade negotiations. And how would this work for Baltimore? Cap space is at $6.675 million, and Taylor's base salary is $4.3 million as he enters the final year of his rookie contract. So the Ravens, when you break it down by the Benjamins, could, in theory, pay Jonathan Taylor for this year. But then when you talk about the future, that's when things start to get a little messy. Here's the deal. Taylor is a dynamic player and could change this offense. We're looking at the Baltimore Ravens entering 2023 as one of the better teams in the AFC. You add in Taylor, all of a sudden you're becoming a part of the elite discussion. But you can't be short-sighted here and forget about the future. Although the Ravens are a very good team right now, you got to think for the next 2, 3, 4 years. You got to play chess and not play checkers compared to these other teams in the National Football League. You're doing that when you've paid Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith. Is it the wise chess move to be paying a running back a second contract? That's where I'm hesitant. The numbers for Jonathan Taylor are as good as any running back in the National Football League for his first 3 seasons. 1,800 yards in 2021. 2020, his rookie season, he was fantastic with nearly 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. The talent is not the issue here, but it's, one, I don't want to give up a first-round pick because every pick matters, and you've got to be thinking about your future there. And then, two, paying Jonathan Taylor that second contract. Personally, it's a non-starter for me when it comes to a first-round pick. The second-round pick, now we could talk about. We could do a potential trade if you're the Baltimore Ravens for Jonathan Taylor for a second-round pick or less. But the first-round pick for me, first-round picks are just too much. Look at Rashod. Look at this past draft, for example, with Zay Flowers. That's the perfect example for me of why you need to take advantage of your first-round talent on the rookie contracts. I'm not going first round. Second round, we can potentially have that discussion. Here's what I want to do. A little survey for the flock today. If you want the Ravens to add Jonathan Taylor, go ahead and hit the like button on today's video. If not, comment and tell me why. If you agree with me and you think that a first-round pick is too much, go ahead and explain how you're feeling there. Let me know one way or the other. Like the video if you want to add Jonathan Taylor. If not, comment and tell me why. Now to the Ravens' current starting running back. That would be J.K. Dobbins. After he made his return to the Baltimore Ravens, after he was activated from the PUP list, his future still remains in question. What will the Ravens do from here? Let's catch you up with what you need to know, starting with Dobbins saying this week that he didn't practice at the beginning of training camp, missing 10-plus practices as a precaution. He did not admit to the hold-in that we all believe and speculate that he was doing, that he was upset over his contract because reports and social media tell us a different story, that the reason why he was on the PUP list had nothing really to do with injury, but rather with him being upset with his contract. And if you base things on history, remember, he missed mandatory minicamp, because of the contract situation. He has been very vocal, how upset he's been. So while he may say one thing, the track record says another. Now, he did comment about Eric DeCosta, the general manager for the Baltimore Ravens, and said that he's very optimistic. He believes that DeCosta is the best GM in the National Football League, and they will get things worked out. So you look at J.K. Dobbins. He's back in Baltimore. He's playing, and he's optimistic this is all going to get figured out one way or the other. So I like the attitude from J.K. Dobbins. That's a step in the right direction. But here's the deal. Talking season's over now. We have one more week to go in this preseason. Football, meaningful football, begins here in a couple weeks. I don't want to hear another word about the contract from J.K. Dobbins right now. If he wants to get paid and wants to be on this Baltimore Ravens team for a long time, here's what he needs to do. Number one, stay healthy. You got to be dependable. The best availability is dependability, okay? You got to be able to trust him that he can be available on the football field. Number two is playing at a high level. Even when we've seen J.K. Dobbins out there, it has been a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys. A lot of highs, a lot of lows for the guy. Be available, be consistent at a high level. You look at the career numbers for J.K. Dobbins here. 2 seasons that he's been able to play 8 games or more. We didn't see him at all in 2021. 2020, 800 yards rushing. 2022 was held to 520 yards rushing. Got off to a rough start to the season. Did end up recovering nicely. Had a strong finish to 2022. But this is a guy that wants to get paid and hasn't been able to stay healthy. Has never had a 1,000-yard season. I need to see more from J.K. Dobbins, and I believe the Ravens feel the same way. So, chime in. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section. Should the Ravens extend J.K. Dobbins or not? Y for yes, in for no. I want to hear directly from the flock. What do you think? Should the Ravens go ahead and invest a long-term deal in J.K. right now or hold off potentially till later? Let us know what you think. Y for yes, in for no. Folks, as the NFL season nears, you may be watching the preseason game coming up this weekend and notice whether it's John Harbaugh or several of your different favorite Ravens players or personnel staff wearing these hats that you're seeing on your screen right now. These are what we call the sideline collection of hats. And here's the deal. You may be looking at these on your screen and saying, wow, I would love to have one of these sideline hats. Well, you're in luck because we have them available to you. Chatsports.com/Ravens hats is where you can get these today. And I got very good news for the flock out there. These hats are still going to be available for a while. You can get it in time for the season. These can be yours today. So you can rock out with the flock out, support your Baltimore Ravens, have the hat in time for the season, be looking snazzy. I love it. You can't miss out this opportunity. Get yours now, chatsports.com/Ravens hats to get yours today. That's chatsports.com/Ravens hats. To Rashod Bateman we go. Rashod Bateman back from injury for Baltimore after he missed the greater part of last season. And he spoke to the media for the first time this week on his situation and how he feels going forward. Bateman opened up about how difficult it was for him because he's never been injured in his entire football career until the last 2 seasons he was in Baltimore, when the first 2 years of his NFL career were cut short by injury. Nonetheless, seems to be on the right track. Bateman saying it's been tough, but I'm happy to be here. He estimated that he feels 99%, very close. So Bateman headed the right direction, it would seem. Very good news. I understand the frustration from Rashod Bateman. Terrible luck that he's had the last 2 seasons with these injuries. But here's the deal. Going forward with Rashod Bateman, I know that Rashod Bateman's a talented football player. We have seen the glimpses of greatness from Rashod Bateman. Although it's not a big sample size, we've seen him perform well. And we know that the Ravens are confident in Rashod Bateman because if you go back to last year, the Ravens moved on from Hollywood Brown because they were confident enough in Rashod Bateman. So the talent's there. Can he stay healthy? I mean, you look at the yards per completion, what he was able to do, those receptions last year. He nearly had 20 yards a reception last year, 2 touchdowns. The year prior to that, 515 yards in 12 games played. Rashod Bateman, you look at this receiver room, there's a lot of hype about Zay Flowers and what he can do. You bring in OBJ. There is still a significant role for Rashod Bateman as far as I'm concerned. Now it's a matter of, can he put it all together? Can he stay healthy? Because I believe Rashod Bateman, if he is able to stay healthy, can be fantastic, have a big year, and be a big asset for this offense with Lamar Jackson, the new scheme that Todd Monken's put it in. Let's see what he can do. So what's your confidence level in Rashod Bateman? Scale it for me in the comment section, 1 through 10. Where are you feeling about Bateman entering 2023? Weigh in. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to join us coming up tomorrow night. We'll be live for our third Ravens watch party of 2023 as your Baltimore Ravens take on the Tampa Bay Bucks. We will get going about 6:30 Eastern Time with a little pregame show, kickoff to follow. After that, we'll have a few drinks on hand, analyze the game in real time. Come on in and stay a while. Hang out with us tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us here on Ravens Rundown.